Hi everyone, I'm back again with another video, and for those of you that are joining me for the first time, thank you so very much for tuning in. And today's video is a bit different from the regular or my usual videos, my usual lecture that I upload here. Today is a fact video, so I'm introducing three facts about Edo language that you should know. So let's get started. So the first fact is that all Edo nouns start with a vowel. Yes. And we have 7 vowels in Edo. So we have A, E, I, O, U. So if you've watched my very first video about Edo alphabets and their sounds, so you would have known this already. So you might say, in that case, what about the name Nusahai? Like if you're familiar with Edo language or Edo names, because Nusahai is a male Edo name. So Nusahai, yeah, right, it's written like this, but it's actually not the full form. So the full form of the name is Nusahai. So which comes from Emi, which is the thing, N, which is which, Osa is the Edo word for God, and Chai is the past tense form of Ha, which is Ha is to say or to tell. In this case, because it's the past tense, is said or has said. So that's the thing which God has said, or the thing which God said. So that is the full form of Nusahai. But somehow, somewhere, it sort of just become established that people write it this way. And also another thing I want you to pay attention to is the arrow in Chai, which I marked black there. It's because the arrow doesn't necessarily have to be there. But like I said, because in Benin City, I did grow up in Benin City. Um, in school, you don't really learn. Like if you are lucky, you attend a school where Edo language is taught. But other than that, you don't really learn Edo language in school. So most things you know about the language is like in the oral form. But just a few things that most people know, like the majority of Edo people know, is that R, so a single R in Edo language is silent, so always silent. So probably the people that started writing Osahai this way know about this certainly. So they know about this phenomenon, and because it is I, so high, so they just added an R there in between the two vowel sound. But if when you see me use this ha and the past tense from ha in other sentences, in other videos to come, I will certainly not be adding the r because it doesn't need to be there, because the way probably in a video which I'll be talking about the Edo tenses, so like simple, the present tense and the past tense. So yeah, certainly that in that kind of video you see me use or you see me conjugate the different types of or several Edo verbs, and then also present you the past tense form. So well, that's just for that. But the main thing, like I said, I want to explain here is the nusahai. So it is actually a nusahai. Again, it starts with a noun. The same thing goes for the Edo word for yesterday, which very often people will say no de, but the full form is enode. And you see this in sentences like imwe onwe venode. So the sentence is I gave you a bag in or at. The verb is a preposition. So in or at yesterday. You don't really have that kind of grammatical function in English, but we have that there in Edo language. So imwekbonwe venode. So then you see the enode coming out. But if you were just saying I saw you yesterday, imie, or I saw it on yesterday, imie to node. So you're using the short form there. But the main form is enode. So because of this phenomenon that all Edo nouns start with a vowel, when Edo people, Edo natives, when they pronounce a or when they have to pronounce a foreign word that starts with a consonant, they would Edolize that word. I know I just coined that term. So they will Edolize that word by placing a vowel in front of the word. So let me show you what I mean. For instance, we have the word motto in English. So in Edo we say imoto. So we add the vowel sound e in front. The same thing with computer. So the English word computer. We would say in the pronunciation, we would say a computer. We just cannot pronounce computer in a sentence like that. It's almost impossible for us. So the same thing with Jessica. We would say, like if your name is Jessica, we would say a Jessica. Or your name is Kelechi, it's the Igbo name Kelechi. We would say a Kelechi. So and this is many let's say other Nigerian ethnic group, they often laugh at the Edos because of this thing that we do, placing a vowel in front of um, foreign words so foreign words that start with a consonant. But this is the reason behind it, because our language is like this. So, however, if a foreign word starts with a nasal N, like the Igbo name Ngozi, Ngozi, we can pronounce that without a problem. Or when it starts with a bilabial nasal, like in the Igbo word for no, umba is the Igbo word for no. We can also pronounce that. But other than that, we would add a vowel in the front. So that was fact number one. Fact number two, all Edo verbs start with a consonant. So we have 19 single consonants in Edo language and 10 double consonants. So while the verbs start with a consonant, they end with one of the following. So they end with either a vowel, like 80% of the time, even though I didn't calculate that mathematically, but it's just from my experience as a native speaker. And so it's either they end with a vowel or they end with a nasal N or a regular N, so like 20% of the time. And here are some examples of some Edo verbs, which you might have already seen in my first lecture, like the lecture about the Edo alphabets. And also in that lecture, I realized that I made some, when I say mistake, like the word Z, which is to choose. I added an H at the end, and that shouldn't be there. It should just be Z, Z A, as like the A sound, and or the air sound in that case, Z. So the air with the underdot. So this is fact number two. So all Edo verbs start with a consonant and end with either a vowel, a nasal N, or a regular N. So fact number three, Edo verbs inflect according to the characteristics of nouns. So they change depending on the characteristics of the nouns that are in a sentence. But what do I mean by this? So let's look at this example. We're talking about the aspect of number now. So numbers. So we look at this the verb ri, which is to take in Edo language, but it's the singular form of take. So when we are saying to take one thing, we would use ri. But when we are saying to take more than one thing, we would say view. So at this point, I just want to quickly also mention that there are some nouns in Edo that do have their distinct singular and plural form. For instance, Oho, which is a woman, becomes Iho in plural. And the same thing with Obia becomes Ibia. Omo is one child, becomes Imo in plural. But other than that, most Edo nouns don't. Like the majority of Edo nouns remain the same in the plural and the singular form. However, the verbs are the ones that change. So let's look at this example. Iriovime riowa. I am taking my child home. I know I just said omo is child, but ovime is also child. Omo is the general form, the general term for child. But if you're saying my child, so from your perspective, you will say ovime. You don't say omome. Okay? So that's why we have ovime here. It's also just it's a special form in Edo. So you say iri ovime riowa. I am taking my child home. And the riowa, the rie there is it is something that I don't speak that many languages, but I speak Edo and I speak German too, and we have this grammatical function in German. So it means to or towards. So it's indicating the direction. So actually, the sentence, if you translate it one to one, it means it means I am taking my child towards home or to home. So this sentence then becomes Ivivimeriowa. I am taking my children home. And you can see how the rie has turned to vio because we're talking about plural. You see? So this even becomes more apparent. For instance, when I'm using a noun, when I'm using a noun that doesn't change its form, like aga or ebe, like iriebe na, I take this paper or I am taking this paper. But iviebe na, I am taking these papers. So the second aspect in which the Edo verbs also change is that of the state of matter of a noun. So what do I mean by that? It is the fact that Edo verbs change according to whether that noun that is in the sentence is a liquid, a solid, or grains or powdery. So let's look at the following example. For instance, when we're talking about a liquid noun, for instance, water or oil, we will say sa, which is to take. So same is to take water or fetch water. Or it can also be samena, which is to give water to. And we go to the next one. So if we are talking about a solid that is heavy or occupies space, such as car or a luggage or chair or book, we would say mu. But if we are talking about solid that is light, like pen or paper or shirt, we would say rie. And at this point, I want to offer you the following scenario. Let's talk about the following scenario. You are outside. You're sitting in the yard or at the balcony or on the balcony. You are there with your mom, and all of a sudden she tells you, so when she gives you that information, you know already when you go inside, you are looking out for a book and not a paper. Why? Because she said mu. If she was talking about a paper, she would say yarie beni gume, or a leaf, because the ebe is also the word for leaf. She would say yariere. But because she said yamwe benire, so automatically you know she's talking about a book because it is heavy and occupies space. So that was that. And if we are talking about grains or powder, you would like rice, gari, beans, salt, or sugar, you would say ze. Zeme, zizeme is give me rice. Zigaime is give me gari. You understand? So, however, if this like grains or liquid or the powder is packaged or in a container, you would then use mu, like a bag of rice or bottled water, because now it is heavy, so it has weight to it and occupies space. So you would then say mu. So that was fact number 3. And we are now at the end of the lecture. So, like I said, it is 3 facts that you need to know about Edo language. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to share this video, and don't forget to like it. And if you have any questions, I would be happy to hear from you. So send me an email or leave me a comment in this comment section below. Until next time, see you, and bye bye.